Okay, welcome back friends. Now we are into 33rd module of AI. We will be talking about expert system architecture in this module. Though expert systems are used for varieties of problems in this world, and there are many things, many components used for building those expert systems, and very few things which are common. We will be talking about those few things. We are going to look at a general architecture of an expert system, and then you like to understand what are the components, why you need those components, and so on and so forth in this particular module. The architecture basically contains a module or a component which interfaces with the client, something which requires to store and inference from the knowledge, something which provide explanation facility, something which processes that knowledge. And it is very important for you to understand that the processing requires entry of the knowledge itself, how experts knowledge is distilled into the knowledge representations structure is also very critical part of an expert system architecture. We will be looking at all of these things in this particular module. And we are going to talk about general features of expert systems rather than talking about a typical expert system in this particular module. Okay. The figure is there in the handout as well as the PPT, a very simple figure, very I would say simplified representation of the expert system architecture, and this is my own representation. If you look at some other book, you probably will find some other difference, but the problem is the difference is not important here. We will have to just learn about the components and their functioning. The topmost component is called query processor and client modeling. Now, this particular processor, now this particular module now is something which is special for expert system, because in normal system you do not have type of users that you will expect in expert system. We will be talking about that. So, this interface actually is based on type of user the expert system is dealing with. Not only that, the input comes from, it is quite possible that is coming from some other mechanism. In non conventional commercial system, the information is almost always coming from keyboard. Here the information might be coming in a written form or a vocal form or some other form. So, that is the important part. There is an interface which comes next. Now, that interface is also quite interesting thing here, because the knowledge that is there in the database or the knowledge storage part is in the same form. Now, the interface, when the users change, they provide for example, let me take an example. A doctor is explaining to some other doctor, probably would say that the girl has encephalitis, and doctor understands, but the same information is to be given to the parent, say that your daughter has a TB like problem and this is TB of brain. Okay. Now, this is a very simple representation of this is called encephalitis. Now, the knowledge structure represents the information in a single form. Given a user, the expression should change. Now, that part is done by the interface. And the information that is coming into the knowledge base, information coming from various sources, and those sources many a times require cleansing, because the information is not coming directly. For example, information coming from a secondary source, not from the original source. Sometimes two different set of information coming in which are conflicting. So, that requires cleansing and normalizing. So, the module which is there does that part. Knowledge storage and maintenance basically is what we have already seen earlier, the predicate logic and other mechanisms that we have seen, and like the last one that we have seen was CD. So, there is some mechanism of storing that knowledge and maintaining it in a way that the module which can infer from it and add new knowledge to it can do that. So, this is general idea of the ES architecture. Let us take each component one after the other. The first one is called query processor and client modeling. We have varieties of users, and one of them is administrator. You know, administrator is almost always there in all computer systems. So, but administrator is also there in conventional systems. There is no difference here between a conventional system and an expert system. So, I will not be talking about administrators any longer. normal user in case of expert system is little different than conventional. For example, if I have a security expert system which looks at the symptoms of the network and try to figure out if there is an attack going on and check if there is a possibility of stopping that attack. Now, who the user is? The user is a normal administrator of a network. Let us take another example, a medical system, a medical expert system which diagnoses a disease. Who the user is? A patient, okay, and so on and so forth. So, this normal user is a very important person here, and for an expert system, if you do not have any other type of user, this user is always going to be there, okay, the normal user. For example, another example is tutoring expert system, an expert system which teaches a student to do something, then student is normal user here. Okay. An expert is the user who provides either the information or test the information. For example, in a medical diagnosis system, a doctor who has provided the information, the rules of thumb and the method to diagnose disease and all that is an expert. And there is a possibility that there is one more doctor who is providing test cases to assess the usefulness of the expert system or the effectiveness of the expert system developed. He is also an expert. So, these are different types of users. In fact, there is one more very before we talk about this thing, let me tell you there is one more type of user actually, it is called learner. Okay. There are two different type of doctors. One is a very senior person who has a lot of rules of thumb, he has provided all that information to diagnose a disease, and a patient may be using those expert system, that expert system that is built by that senior doctor. Not only that, a junior doctor also can learn from that system. Okay. So, that user is called learner. And these two type of experts which I was expert user has two types which I talked about here. First is trusted for providing the knowledge. Now, this expert is basically providing all rules, heuristic rules, procedural rules, facts and many other things. Sometimes the information is not directly available from expert. For example, a medical diagnosis case, a doctor will not be in a position to provide complete information about the knowledge of a body of human being and information about all diseases and information about all drugs and all that, because these things are available through other means. So, if you read those things by other means and is usually known as machine learning. Okay. So, if that is done, the expert has to not provide that thing from himself, but will have to monitor if the information is going inside is right or whatever. So, the expert, the first type of an expert does both, it looks at the information, it provides that information and it monitors the information when it is coming from other sources. The other type of expert is kind of a validator, it provides test cases to assess the effectiveness of the expert system, and both of these experts will have to act in a sync. But then if you feel that these two experts look quite similar to developer and tester of conventional systems, then there is some difference. The difference, the first difference is that there is an introduction to heuristic. It is quite possible that the heuristic is little wrong and the verifier can find out, and that will have to be modified, which and heuristic. In fact, there are you might have multiple heuristics and all of them are wrong, all of them are not completely correct and so on and so forth. Though that thing will not happen in conventional systems, that is things which are true, the things which are false, there is nothing in between, but here there is a possibility. The second important thing is ability to explain the reasoning, which is, for example, a common commercial system will tells me that your payroll, your salary is this much. I will never go and ask what, why, almost nothing. But if the medical expert system tells me that you got malaria, I will ask why you telling me so. Okay, so that an additional requirement, that is an additional requirement, and we know that possibility of the system to come back with wrong answers is definitely there when you are talking about expert systems. It makes it more actually important for the person who is validating the system to make sure that it should answer in a correct manner as long as possible. But let me tell you something that happened with Mycin. When Mycin came out and was tested on real cases, people found that the efficiency was around 75, 76 something, and people said that no, this is not acceptable. The designers were quite rational, and what did they do? They took the same test, they give the same test to doctors, and doctors when took that test, they found to be nearly around 60%. So, then they said that now okay, Mycin is as good as, if it is not better, looks better on the face of it, but it is as good as at least human experts. So, then people started accepting the decisions. The point is, the testing part is pretty important here. Okay. So, in many cases there are multiple doctors or multiple testers, multiple evaluators, multiple verifiers are provided in expert system. I have already told you there is somebody who is a learner. Expert systems expect specific level of understanding, and if you do not have that level and you would like to learn that, you can use expert system. That is an advantage of having an expert system. Okay. For example, intelligent tutoring system, and I provide a system. For example, I have developed a system which is intelligent tutoring system, which looks at the students model, which looks at what are the requirements of the curriculum, what are the requirements of industry, designs Bloom's pedagogical rules for that, and decides what kind of test to be generated, how practical problems based on those requirements can be generated, provided them. Probably I am an expert, I am doing it for years and I can do that very easily. So, I did that and provided that. A new teacher who has just joined probably had little idea about what he can do is he can just browse through this and learn from it. So, those experts and novice teachers both can get themselves synced over this thing. In fact, let me tell you that there are some psychological issues as well. Whenever you are dealing with experts, at some or the other point of time, I have already told you that domain knowledge is the power of expert. Expert might feel that he is revealing too much. Okay. If he gives out everything that he knows, he will no longer remain important, and in many cases this is a very critical point. Whenever you are developing an expert system and when you want to glean information from expert, one or the other place you will face this problem, and these learners actually you when you say that there are people who are learners, he might feel that learners will learn everything that they have learned over the years, they will learn in few years, and that is something that they dislike, and there is a psychological problem associated with this. But anyway, this is something that most organizations want. There are some people who are really good in their business, and the organization want that knowledge to be stored, to be retained, even if those experts leave. Okay. So, this is a critical thing. It also involves the psychological and management issues, which I do not want to talk about right now, but if you develop an expert system and you would like to provide this user, and which is a very important thing to do, you will surely face this. The other important thing is whether the thing that you are trying to build is to be part of client or the server. This thing, the interface part, if there is a client server thing, invariably it resides on the client, but then some processing of the queries happen on the server. But when I say that processing queries, I am not talking about conventional SQL based or no SQL based queries. We are talking about converting an expression into a query. For example, I write something on my phone using stylus, it tries to understand what it is, it tries to understand my query and then convert it into regular query, or when I speak something, it understands, it tries to understand what I am talking about, get that thing as a query and fire that in the. So, the query processing in expert system, when I am talking about human like input and which is converted to something which computer understands. So, that is the processing which is very important here. Okay. The interface is again, as I said, a very critical part. For example, I am an expert and the system tells me that the memory allocation failed due to stack full, and I understand what is the problem. But if a normal user, a clerk who is working on a machine and gets this problem, will not be able to understand what to do. Okay. So, the response would be tuned to something like this: there is a memory problem, please call the administrator. Now, the same message is tuned or toned down for that person who does not really understand the technical jargon. Similarly, the test case confirms encephalitis. Now, this is a report coming up. Now, if that report is given to a doctor, he immediately understands what it is. But if the same report goes to the parent, will never be able to understand what this is, will again tone down to something like it is a disease which is similar to TB for a brain. Okay, this is an example of how the interface should tone down or change or modify the output. Now, that also happens when you are talking about experts and learners. So, whenever you provide and here are two more examples. A distributed denial of service attack is something that is given to me. I understand what is distributed denial of service attack. But if it is given to a normal user, would say something like this: the attack is being directed from many other computer systems to the attacker. Okay. There are variety of users and the interface needs to suit them. Okay. And the items displayed on the page for a different user should change and so on and so forth. I was talking about the learner and expert case. The same response again in case of a learner and an expert should also change. For example, it might if I am an expert, the answer is find that the attack is spread in production network. So, you should run netset utility and or syslog utility and find out what the problems are. The learner probably will get a different response, is that the network is divided into two parts. One is the demilitarized zone and there is a firewall in between and there is a production network, and the attack unfortunately has affected the demilitarized zone, there is also affected firewalls and now is into the production network. Now, you can see that the difference in explanation. A learner gets more detailed and elaborated response. Most experts will not like it because they know everything. You just tell them that this is a problem and they understand, but a learner would like to learn more. Okay. So, this again is a requirement. For example, typical interface, again this is the other problem. Typical interface require typical requirements. There is something called HCI, if you probably have read about human computer interface. There is a branch in computer science which talks about how humans interact with computers. There are some cases where computers are managed by the movement of eyes. Okay. For people who are disabled, who cannot move their limbs. Okay. And other from some other body movement also, people have designed computer interface. We are not talking about this interface, we are talking about the interface which with the knowledge is of the same type, and because of this interface a different user gets a different response. We are talking about that interface. And the best interface is what? The natural language. You just tell the computer, oh, yesterday I have opened a file, now that file is missing and now give me that file, or find out where that file has gone, something like that. If the computer understands, the best thing is, but unfortunately we are not into that era yet where the computers understand natural languages. The pretty huge challenges are there in that path, and it is not very likely that you will ever be able to get a computer which can understand a natural language. By that time, this is not available to us. And what are the other possible alternatives? GUIs, graphical user interface, or APIs, or program level interface, call level interface, and all that. These things are available with other systems, and expert systems are no exception. Text voice commands and menu driven interfaces and so on. But then there is a huge challenge. The interface that humans have, for example, when you go to a doctor, without you speaking anything, doctor would notice mosquito bites on your face, see that your body is weakened, can see that you look weak, okay, and also know that you live near to a place where there are a lot of mosquitoes and is quite prone to malaria. He can, without asking a question, can conclude that you probably are suffering from malaria, which is impossible for a normal expert system. Okay. So, how to provide that information, how to provide that interface is pretty hard right now. Okay. But then if that interface also is possible to be provided, the expert system can be able to do a far better job. Obviously, expert systems and types of user is something that is very related. Experts can be given short, precise and jargon filled answers. Learners must be given elaborate answers. Normal user must be given answers which they can understand from their context, their viewpoint. And I have already told you, knowledge base cannot store information in all these formats. There must be some mechanism of conversion. And also should the expertism should have an interactive dialogue based kind of an interface to user. Okay. That is again very important. When user provides some input, the expert system should decide how to respond back, and that also is quite critical component of an interface. Obviously, one of the simplest solution to this problem, learning about information, is machine learning. It is quite possible that you read 10, 15, 20 books on TCP/IP, books on operating system, books on how attacks take place and categorization of attacks, and books on solutions to those attacks and so on and so forth. Combine everything into a knowledge base. Just by reading those things, you do not require an expert to do that, is a great solution, and that is called machine learning. Okay. But you need to you need to refer to many things. For example, intrusion detection, it is shown here, previous attack scenarios, recorded network logs, RFCs, which are common point of reference for all network related issues, research papers and other articles and so on and so forth. But it is a great thing to have. If you have machine learning, as long as you can machine learn, it is better, because you are saving experts time. The knowledge storage part is also very critical, which stores information. Whatever the information is coming from the interface is being stored in the knowledge store or knowledge base. Okay. And the information is contained in many forms. Okay. The conventional techniques like RDBMS and XML based solutions are also used. We use in some cases conventional language and file based solutions are also preferred. XML structures are also preferred. There are many ways of doing this. Okay. And why people use conventional methods rather than unconventional AI based? Because as I said earlier, today the trend is to have expert system component as a normal systems component. Okay. So, a normal system will contain a part the expert system, and whenever the expert system module is separated, it has to communicate to other parts of the system, and that is why expert system development also is done using normal conventional languages, and that is why it is so. Okay. Even the knowledge representation is done in a conventional structured way. We have already seen that interface and knowledge representation go hand in hand. Inference logic is shown as a separate module, but you can see that it is only connected to this knowledge structure. It is usually separated, but it is also very I would say dependent on the way you store your knowledge. And the knowledge store actually is divided into two parts. One is called knowledge base, something which contains knowledge, but an expert will no longer remain an expert if he cannot update his knowledge, and that is why you need the other part, which is called knowledge update facility. Okay. So, the module, the knowledge storage, contain both the knowledge base which contain the knowledge and the update which improves continuously the knowledge. The knowledge base basically contains two things, we know, facts and rules. For example, OWL is used to describe the knowledge, one example. Okay. There are other ways of doing that, or frames or frame systems or semantic nets or whatever. Okay. The ontology, for example, is provided using XML, and there is an example, and the inference is based on how you do this. For example, let us take a simple example of attacks. You devise a system where the attacks, and under attacks you have availability based attack, which are basically denial of service attack, and then there is one more type of attack. The availability type of attack contains a database. So, something that you do to compromise database, and because of that the system is not accessible. So, it is available. So, that database related attack that you inserted comes in this hierarchy. The other one, which for example, buffer overflow kind of an attack. Again, under that you have something which buffer overflows are RDBMS routine, which disrupts the functioning of RDBMS. Now, suppose if I am interested in looking at availability related attacks, my hierarchy is such that I can have that thing in a single shot. I just travel this hierarchy, I get. Or if I want to get buffer overflow based attacks, I will travel this hierarchy and I will get all of them. But unfortunately, if I try to get attacks related to databases, I do not have the hierarchy telling me so. So, I will have to travel each hierarchy and find out which are the attacks based on database, and then I will be able to answer. So, the answers or the responses are very sensitive to this design, and that makes it very complex. This association based access is pretty hard, and that is why the design of knowledge base is very important. But then, for example, if you are an expert, how will you provide this knowledge? Because somebody has thought of an ontology that this attack should be part of this and this attack should be part of this hierarchy. Now, this is quite similar to a librarian. Whenever a new book is introduced in the library, and librarian looks at the classification mechanism and decide where this book should be. Now, that classification helps better retrieval of that book, but the person who is providing that book or using that book has little idea about the classification. The same thing happens here. When the expert provides that information, the first thing is where to place that information is not very well known to him. That is one problem. The second thing, the expert has many rules of thumb, but how that rules of thumb is represented in either predicate logic or frame or the XML form is probably a little idea about. So, the problem is to be solved, and this problem is not as easy. So, what you need is another expert called knowledge engineer, who has a good idea about how system functions, have some idea about what expert do in his domain, and can act as an intermediary between the expert and the system. And what does he do? He will elicit knowledge from the expert, figure out where that this thing is to be placed, they convert the rules that the expert provide in the form that possible to be inserted in the system, and find out missing pieces and ask for those missing pieces and place them. So, that is the job of a knowledge engineer, which is pretty hard. And he is not only doing this thing, that taking data from an expert and putting it in the knowledge base. Sometimes he will have to clean and normalize that data as well, because expert might provide two different rules which look contradicting. Then he will ask, in this case you are telling so, and in the other case you are telling something else, why? The expert then realize, oh, both the rules look very contradicting, but then if you have situation called X, this rule is applicable. In the situation called Y, then this rule is applicable. So, they are not contradicting in true sense, but that additional information is to be provided. So, those cleansing and normalizing operations are done by knowledge engineer. And you know why knowledge engineer is required? In almost all such cases you require knowledge engineer for two simple reasons, because it is a great thing if expert learn how the system works and provide the knowledge in that form, but usually experts have no knowledge of that time and they do not have time also. Obviously, experts, we call people experts who are in high demand, who are very well known in their field, and usually such people do not have time. So, that is the first problem, and second thing, they are not good at describing the rules of thumb, and that is again a critical thing. They know that rule, but then how that rule is derived and all that is buried in their past. It is very hard for them to realize why they have chosen that. For example, when somebody is coming from a typical place, the doctor almost always choose to test for malaria first, and you ask them why they are doing it, they might have to think a lot of might take a lot of time thinking and finding out why they have actually done that. Then they realize, oh, they live where there are a lot of mosquitoes and so on and so forth, and they are prone to malaria and so on. That is why he insists to test for malaria for that particular patient's case and so on and so forth. So, that is the reason why extracting those rules is very hard, and I have already told you the psychological issue. At some or the other point of time, the expert start feeling that he is revealing too much, and then he goes into that shell. Now, that is the knowledge engineer has to do that additional job of making him comfortable, making sure that this psychological effect should be as less as possible, the impact of that should be as less as possible on this. Okay. And subject experts knowledge in most cases is something in form which only the peers can understand. Remember, we need to provide interface for others as well. So, knowledge engineer has to do that additional job as well, and how can he do that? He has to have lot of additional attributes. For example, must be acquainted with the terminology of the domain. When I say that there is DDoS on system Y and we have this problem, the other person must understand what DDoS is. Okay. So, that terminology is very important for the knowledge engineer to have, and that once he acquire that knowledge, it has to convert that thing into knowledge which is acceptable by the system. Not only that, the elaborated part which is possible for the learner to learn from, and something which is simplified part which the other party, which is normal user, should be able to understand. Okay. So, the knowledge engineer has to have the knowledge stored in the information about the knowledge stored in the system, the overall knowledge structure, how the knowledge is structured, where what is placed. So, whenever a new attack is encountered, it knows exactly where to place that this thing, where each knowledge pass is to be entered. Okay. So, that the whole thing is to be learned. Okay. Okay, the key requires learn about jargons, buzzwords, common phrases, must distill idea from experts statements, and will have to communicate with expert and do heuristic knowledge, and all that is to be gained from that knowledge. That is pretty complex case. Okay, the next thing is inference logic. Next module is inference logic, which I have talked about a lot, and I will not be talking about that thing right now, but you can see that it depends on the knowledge structure, knowledge representation scheme. Default assumptions are the same problem here as well. Okay. So, experts provide some default assumptions, then they might not be correct in most cases. For example, if you have a patient with fever, alternate day and feeling cold and all that, that may not be malaria in some typical case. So, default assumption may be wrong. Operate at a very high level, that is the other thing, because many a times low level things are not known. I have already talked about that thing. Updating knowledge is the next part, and that again involves the same process, knowledge engineer and expert and the same issue. Okay. And it is common, every domain is evolving. Okay. So, expert must keep themselves updated by reading things, by attending seminars and so on and so forth, which the expert system should be able to do. Explanation system is something that I have already talked about earlier. Anyway, conventionally expert systems can have three different types. One is a helper, which is something which, for example, an expert system will gives me the packet count and statistical average of what is happening, attack and all that. I can get some idea from it and can act as an expert. Now, you can see that the expert system is only helping me. The other one expert system is someone which detects something, attack and reports me that see if I find that there is an attack. Now, I am also an expert, I compare my knowledge with that and can tell the expert system whether this is right or wrong. And the third level is expert system working on its own without any monitoring. In fact, first two levels are possible to be achieved so far, the third level is a little difficult to have right now, but the eventual idea of researcher is to build expert system which can act like an expert. Okay. So, these are the three levels of an expert system. With that, we will conclude this particular module. We have seen in this particular module that there is a general architecture of expert system which contains an interface part, which contains a knowledge representation part, which contains an inference logic, which contains an explanation system. Together they represent a general architecture of an expert system. Normal expert system probably will have some other additional modules, but these are general things. With that we will conclude this particular module. Thank you.